Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. What branch did you serve in?
Why don't you have him introduce himself, or you introduce?
I'll just say,
Okay.
my name is Tim Heffernan. I retired from the United States Coast Guard after 30 years and 6 months. I joined back in May of 1977 and lasted till 1 December of 2007.
What age and why did you join?
I was 19 when I joined, and basically it came down to I needed a job because I was working 3 of them, and recently married with a baby on the way, and I saw a commercial on the TV about the Coast Guard, and had aviation and Alaska. I tried to make it to Alaska before I joined and didn't make it, and it seemed to have everything I want. So I joined.
What jobs, like, what did you have to do when you served?
My primary job was an aircraft mechanic. I worked on C-130s, and then my secondary job was to be a flight crewman on the C-130. And I started out as a drop master in the back of the airplane, and if somebody was down there in trouble, a boat was on fire or taking on water, we could drop certain things down there to them.
Rylan needs a
We could drop things down there like a dewatering pump, or if the boat had sank and they were in the water, we could drop life rafts and stuff down there to them to help them out till either a helicopter showed up or a Coast Guard cutter showed up and helped them out there too. So keep going.
Well, what's a cutter?
A cutter is a ship. Coast Guard cutter is a ship. It just depends on how long it is. Some are boats. Once they get to, I think, 65 feet, they become cutters. And before I got into aviation, right out of boot camp, I was on a cutter right up here in St. Petersburg, Bayboro Harbor, a 210-foot cutter up there. I was there for about a year because I was waiting on my aviation school to come up, and that happened. And I went up to Elizabeth City, North Carolina, and spent 5 months there at school, learning how to be a basic mechanic and learn about aviation, this and that, whatever. And then when the school was getting shorter, they said, okay, put your dream sheets on where you want to go. And so I put down Kodiak, Alaska, my first pick. So, and on C-130s, which I got both of what I wanted, fixed wing airplanes and going to Alaska.
So where were you stationed?
Kodiak first, right out of A school, and spent 2 years there. From there, back in 1981, went from there down to Elizabeth City, North Carolina, down at the air station. The school was over here, and the air station was over here. Spent 4 years there, and then came down here to Clearwater, and spent 4 years there. Back up to Kodiak for a couple of years, and then back to Clearwater. And I think I spent 6 years there that time. Out to Barbers Point, Hawaii. Spent 3 years out there, and then back to Clearwater. And then my last tour was up in Elizabeth City again, up there where we bring C-130s in from all the different units, and we'd work on them. We'd fix them, put new prototypes in them, and fix the avionics, upgrade the avionics, and this and that, whatever. But I wasn't working on the airplane at that time. I was in charge of a bunch of contractors out there, 65 people that I had working days and nights on the airplane to get it in within the window, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it was, and which was good because most of the mechanics out there on the hangar deck, the contractors, were retired Coast Guard, so they knew how to work on C-130s and how the Coast Guard worked, and so it was a good job. It was really, really good.
Did you see any combat?
No, I did not see any combat. Over the time, 30 years, when the Gulf War and this and that, whatever, I was active military, but I did not go overseas and see it. They sent a lot of Coast Guard people over there. And I volunteered, and I raised my hand, I'll go, I'll go, I'll go. I just didn't get picked.
I didn't know that. I didn't know they sent Coast Guard overseas. I thought they were all state-bound.
No, you're not the only one, because the Coast Guard goes back to World War I.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the wars since that, Coast Guard's been involved, because when there's a war going on, Coast Guard goes underneath the Navy. And we the same way as the Navy does. All the different stuff, go to a lot of Navy schools and all that kind of stuff. And then it's just like, something like that happens, we just blend right in with it.
Interesting.
So, but I volunteered a lot, and so much that my supervisor got mad. Gave me the, you will shut your mouth and do what you're told. So, I shut my mouth and did what I was told. So,
How about the war on drugs?
the war on drugs, yep, I was involved in that. When I was on that cutter up here in St. Pete, when I first got out of boot camp, I can't remember for sure, but we made 24 or 29 drug busts on boats. And they were packed to the gills with marijuana, cocaine, hash oil, just all kinds of stuff. And part of my billet was when we made a bust on a boat, we'd bring the prisoners over on the boat, get them all taken care of, and we'd send a prize crew over to the boat that we just busted, and we'd take it into port. Unless the people on the boat sabotaged the boat where we couldn't drive it in. Some set it on fire, and we had to put fires out, and they'd jump in the water and scatter. We have to go pick them up, and get them back. And the times I spent on the boat that we busted, first 2 or 3 times was fun, but after a while, because you spend 3 or 4 days on that boat, that's it, that's all you're doing. There's 3 people on there. You do watches every 4 hours. I got to watch. I got to go up and do this, do that, whatever. Somebody else wakes up, or you wake them up. They take the watch. But after you get done, you get into port and you get rid of that boat and you get away from it. You stink. You smell like marijuana. It's coming out of your pores because that's all you're breathing it 24 hours a day. And I hated it, but it was my billet, and I had to do it. But it was not fun.
About as fun as riding in helicopters?
I did that. I have been hoisted a couple of times, for them to practice and for me to get the experience. And I said, yeah, okay, I'm going to stay in the back of a C-130 for a while. And I moved from being a drop master in the back up to a flight engineer up front. The pilot would sit here, the co-pilot would sit here, and I was right in the middle. And I was a systems specialist. I knew everything about that airplane, supposedly. And flipping switches and doing this, gas, electrics, hydraulics, air conditioning. I controlled all that stuff. They flew the airplane. I smacked them when they messed up. And we just go do what we had to do.
So after you left, did you have any difficulties transitioning to like regular life?
I did. Before I retired up there in North Carolina, I had a couple of job offers up there, and my feeling was I just wanted to come home, back to Florida, and so I did. I got down here, and then I was offered another job up in Lake City, Florida, up there running the overhaul site for the Coast Guard for C-130s. They bring a plane in for like 4 months, take the engines off, everything, strip it down to nothing, take the wings off, the tails off, everything, and they would go through the whole airplane and clean it up, any corrosion, just all kinds of stuff. And it would take 4 months from start to finish. And I was going to be in charge of the contractors up there doing that. But because of budget and this and that, whatever, it didn't go through quick enough. And after about a year, I just said, I'm tired of waiting, I'm not going to do it. And now, they're having problems up there, so I'm glad I didn't go up there. So.
Well, that's all the questions I have. So, I mean, if you have anything else.
Okay. I don't know how long you want this to be, but
Well, I mean, it can be.
you can go through and edit.
Yeah,
over.
I mean, take
Okay.
out what we don't need.
Let me get this other stuff here.